In August 2022, it was announced that that show singles will no longer be used for Studio C after being programmed for 26 years, as it was in the middle of a new networking module known as Navori, which contained decisions were made to set all the Studio C's animatronics into random mode movements, which regular show audio and video would normally play, but the animatronics would instead randomly move to a preset pattern. Lights and other effects will go unused as well, as no new songs or content will be animated going forward, as previous content will be wiped to not include their signals. Now, for someone who grew up during the Studio C era, this stage was very unique, but what is a problem for the company since day one, which I want to focus on today's topic, as I'll be discussing the downfall of Studio C. What happened?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, live from Studio C, it's the Chuck E. Cheese Show with your host, Chuck E. Cheese. Tonight's guests, the Beatles, Leanne Rimes, Steve Martin, and many more. And now, here's your host, preferred by more dentists than the leading brand, Chuck E. Cheese.
Hey, thanks everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you.
He says thank you.
Yeah, that's what I said. Thank you. Anyway, we've got a great show.
A really great show.
Yeah, we've got a lot of groovy tunes to throw your way.
Yeah, like a lot of groovy tunes.
Do you mind? Thank you. Anyway, like I was telling everyone, we've got a lot of cool stuff in store for you on today's show. And I'm so excited to introduce you to the new studio we've put together for you right here at Chuck E. Cheese's. I'll fill you in on some more features in a little bit.
So right before we dive on into the whole downfall with Studio C, let's discuss the history. The Studio C concept made its debate all the way back in 1997, after the failure from its previous stage concept, the Awesome Adventure Machine, which debated at the Montfort, Dallas, Texas store on August 21st, 1996. The stage was removed between November of 1997 and January of 1998. In favor of a whole new stage concept, as the Studio C, or known by fans as the Studio C Alpha, is the first widely installed to have one animatronic, which was Chuck E. Cheese himself, as it will have a very late night talk show format, as the early concept of the Studio C stage, originally made by Corman and Associates, presented the concept of a talent show, with Chucky getting dressed in a suit and glasses, as the rest of the band members were strictly on screen, as CEC wanted it to move the audience attention away from a show to multiple characters to just one. As the concept became revised, Corman settled with the idea of a late night talk show, as the concept kept the features like the chroma key and lighting. The first prototype of the stage was created by Corman and Associates, as it had in cute differences in appearance to the standard stage, with an entirely different cityscape, desk, chroma key area, an interactive console, books, statues, artifacts, and curtains over the windows leading to the cityscapes. The desk was all solid colors instead of a garment, and the desk itself was all in one color. The main monitor obtained for individual bulbs as obtained to two lighting. Directly under it was the interactive console, which when it was made to have 5 initial locations, has Fred Flintstone memory match before getting its own dedicated software. Next to the monitor area was the chroma key stage, which was essentially a stage with a larger camera and a green screen.
Chroma key.
The Studio C Alpha stage made its debut on October 3rd, 1997 at the Showbiz Pizza Time Entertainment Department, as the prototype began construction from Corman that year, and after being revealed to selected few managers, the first 2 locations to have the Studio C were Dallas Montfort, Texas location and the Brooksville, Wisconsin location. Brooksville was the first location to open up with the Alpha in December of 1997, as according to Brian Hagan, who was the former Denverport 18 studio manager and Awesome Adventure Machine programmer, the Brooksville animatronics was installed after the 1997 GM franchise convention. Just like the Awesome Adventure Machine, the Studio C followed its footsteps, as the stage is designed to be interactive as possible, as Chucky is featuring in a late night outfit as he was surrounded with a cityscape background, as Chucky would be surrounded a desk with a pizza phone, peacetime clock, Apple TV, and
Bird! Wait, that's the name.
Showbiz conducted several clients to create the animatronics for the new generation, and landed on Garner Host Production to create the animatronic and prop. The Studio C Alpha would have some great features, such as the blue screen, which would have a camera where kids would dance around as the other kids became the director moving the camera.
Thanks, everyone. It's great to have you here in my new Studio C. There are so many great new features, it's hard to know where to begin. Take a look way over to the left. See that stage with a camera? That's what we call a blue screen in show business.
Chroma key! Chroma key!
That's right, Bird. We also call it chroma key. But why don't we just call it a blue screen, because the name's not important.
Nope, not important. Not important.
Nope, the important part is what the blue screen does. You can stand over there in front of the blue screen and become a real part of the show. That's right.
As in front and center of the stage would be the interactive console, a computer with various elements and activities such as the spy cams, sound effect buttons, and a computer running window with a special system created for CEC. As one unique thing that a few selected locations have would be a coin-operated karaoke system that contains kiddie songs called Chucky's Star Search, which was located in the blue screen area. Unfortunately, this was actually short-lived, as it was only available from 1999 to the 2000s. As around the summer of the 2000s, it was renamed to Kids Karaoke, with more songs being added to the selection, as it ended support in July of 2001. As another feature was displaying the birthday star's name and age on the TV. This lasted until around early of 2009. When the Studio C first debuted, a lot of things were made, such as they have their own shows, which the Awesome Adventure Machine started doing. So that means CEC Entertainment would have to program 2 different shows in the room, as the main focus was to get rid of the other characters and just focus on Chucky. And to have him by his sidekick would be the Bird, who was positioned to be as Chucky's sidekick, which he has spoken in a few show tapes.
Wait a minute there. You mean to tell me you actually talked in a couple of shows?
Yes, well, as a matter of fact, you can YouTube those shows.
That song was great. Hey, what's going on here? Who keeps changing the channel? Hey, cut it out. All right. Who's got my master remote?
Back, channel surfing, back.
Bird, what's the big idea? Oh, you've really thrown a monkey wrench in the show this time. Come on now, Bird, let me have it.
Back, no can do. Back, I'm not gonna do it.
Bird! Oh, come on, Bird, stop playing around. Okay, that's enough. Bird, you better be careful. You're gonna close my curtain.
Back, sorry.
Oh, that's okay, Bird.
However, when Jerry Blato became the director of entertainment, that idea was scrapped and decided to have a bigger role for the characters, and since having a 5-member band would be expensive, around 1999, the other characters would appear as puppets, which was a concept they had done since the early 90s.
Well, I don't remember hearing you talk.
Well, that's because you were on the TV acting like a puppet.
As the whole concept of the Studio C was to phase out every existing station nationwide by 2002. However, that didn't happen anytime soon, which surprises them actually pull something off. But of course, this is CEC we're talking about here. They had come into the problem with the budget, as the expensive cost of removing the existing stages with installing a brand new stage show would be an enormous cost. So you might be curious, What did they do? Well, it's time to dive into the other variants of the Studio C stages. In the 2000s, Corman and Associates created a new stage per request of CEC to lessen the cost of shows per location, as in general, this stage consisted of a consented version of the CEC concept, in which the late night concept and most of the interactive elements were removed, as the Studio C beta prototype, or known as the Studio C Alpha Beta Mix, debated. This was only installed at 6 locations, the first being in Athens, Georgia, around April 10, 2000. The blue screen received a redesign to better fit into a wall, as this was the first Studio C variant to not have an area leading behind the main stage. As with Chucky stage, which this stage contained a 32 movement, just as the previous one, the Alpha, it also received a redesign to a jukebox-like fixture as the bird was placed on stage. Finally, a monitor was to the left of the Chucky animatronic, still consisting the same general lighting from its previous iterations. As the next location to receive the modified variants of this concept would be Tyler, Texas, which opened up around July 24, 2000, and the Clarksville, Tennessee location, which opened up around February 22, 2001, as they will receive a nearly identical stage. However, the monitor was changed to be on a gray box with just 3 solid lights. As with the Brownsville, Texas location, which opened up on July 7, 2000, and the Midland, Texas location, which opened up on October 2, 2000, they had never had a main monitor to begin with, which is interesting to note that the Jeddah, Saudi Arabia store has elements from the Alpha, as this stage has 2 blue screens, 2 interactive consoles, 2 Studio C Alpha TVs, and a regular jukebox-like figure, as their 32 movement has a late night outfit until its closure around 2019, making the late night outfit a stink. Just as of 2024, the Studio C beta prototype, or Studio C Alpha Beta Mix, is officially a stink since February of 2022. Around the fall 2000s, a brand new Studio C stage debuted, which is the Studio C Beta, which was referred to the community as the Origins, as the name is debatable, as it was designed by Corman and Associates, as according to an employee from Corman stated that the stage never had explicitly names, but instead uses the Studio C name in its revision year. Since Corman did not have an official name, the Studio C 2000 name is also not an official name. More on that later in a bit. When the stage first debated, it uses a 32 movement Chucky animatronic created by Garner Holt as the background that features a large swirl in the center and tubes and boxes that all light up with the show, with a special carpet was used that was black and says Studio C all over, although many stores have replaced it with stores' normal carpet. When the stage debuted, it first had a single screen TV, as it replaced the Clearwater, Florida road stage, as its location was to test the brand new Studio C variant. As instead of 3, it just had one in the middle, as it features lighting on the top, a large TV in the middle, and a subwoofer on the bottom, as a single screen 32 movement Chuck made it into stores from fall the 2000s through January 2003, which sometime from 2001 and 2002, Garner is consulted by CEC to reduce costs of the animatronics. Eventually, a code promise was reached where they would remove half of the movements of the existing Chucky animatronics to partly cost the half of the price, as later on, Studio C Beta would have the 60 movement bot, which is notable to discuss that the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania location has a hybrid animatronic with a 32 movement body and a 60 movement head. Don't ask me how that happened. Let's take a break from the 32 movement, as we'll be discussing about the 60 movement Chucky's animatronics, as now we'll discuss about the Studio C Cappa. However, before we get into that, let's discuss the Studio C Cappa promo type. In 2002, CEC Entertainment Corporation thought of an idea to create Chuck E. Cheese's restaurants in smaller cities in the United States, known as Small Town CEC, as the operation of these test Small Town CEC restaurants differed from the normal Chuck E. Cheese's restaurants is a smaller store size, a buffet, a presence of the walk around, and the new stage, which isn't a new stage but just a blue screen with a camera, as no animatronics was presented. Definitely foreshadowing a sequel future from the company. It was tested out in 3 locations: Lake Jackson, Texas, Waco, Texas, and Dover, Delaware, which after no more were tested, as it is unknown why exactly the company stopped the tests. As a possible reason is because there was no animatronics, as every location has at least one of shows, whether it's the Cyberamics, the 3 stages, or the newly Studio C's. However, with the 3 test locations, they will receive the referred to corporate documents as the Small Town Studio C, and accepted to the community as the C Cappa, which will be installed at various stores between 2003 to 2006 and use it as a replacement stage from 2003 to 2009. This is a downgraded version as it featured a 60mm chuck cramped into the wall, as a revised version of the small town concept would be debated at the Joplin, Missouri location on July 22, 2003, as the first interaction of the C Cappa reuses parts of the buffet setup, as the new design will feature a mirror with 3 rope lights behind the animatronic, as Chucky would sat on top of the angular, transparent stage with no curtains. First time in CUC having no curtains, with the floodlights glued to the spotlight bar, and for additional lighting to the spotlight bar had the CEC spot, 3 floods, Gemini, more strobe, applause, and on the air sign. The Waco, Texas location would have received a unique setup. Instead of a blue screen, it used the same materials seen with the CEC letters put on top of it to the left and right. It featured 2 sets of 3 rope lights. Overall, the design of the small town CEC prototype was very interesting, as there was no check animatronic or physical stage platform, but with a blue screen with 3 actual small TVs above it. As for the lighting, there were small lights above and on the sides of the blue screen, as well as additional rope lights hanging from the ceiling. While very absurd, the prototype concept would have played a legacy in the company's history down the line when involving COC, which I'll discuss later on in a bit. As continuing on with the alpha, there were actually 3 versions of this stage. The first version I had previously mentioned it, as the second version came out in November of 2003, with some changes, firstly being the backdrop, as it was changed from a mirror to a spiral shape with lights, and it extended to the wall next to the right. As for additional lights, it will include the spotlight for Chucky, 2 floods, and a strobe light. The final design removed the transparent stage and extended the swirl patterns, replacing them to what the CUC beta looked like. Some might say this is probably the CUC beta Kappa mix, as it was completed with lights and a backdrop and the working curtains until early 2006, when fake curtains were being installed. The blue screen design and lighting remained the same as the previous versions. So you might be curious where each version of the CUC name comes from. Well, from looking from a few file screenshots from Cheesypedia, someone claims that there was no specific name for Studio C, as it once assigned it each after production. There were revisions based on function, cost, etc. As also the name was picked by Brian Hagen, and an old fandom member, as Travis said he had heard it from Jen, as she coined the alpha and beta, as fans caught on and called the next one Kappa, as there wasn't a name at the time. And the entire fandom adapted the phrase, as eventually some employees used the phrase. So if anyone knows about where each name comes from, let me know in the comments below. Moving forward to the 2000s, while more and more Studio C stages were installed left and right, as late 2009, Cute German Retails proposed a new stage concept to CEC Entertainment, as the currently existing Studio C shows were outdated and inconsistent. as a new stage would debate which was the star stage. This stage debated at the Montfort, Dallas, Texas location as it was meant to update the Studio C shows to the current generation. This stage featured a 32-movie animatronic, as behind Chucky were computer-operated cutouts of the singing flowers, which were previously animatronics from the Rocker and Steve stage during the mid-1980s, as they were also seen on early 3 stage in the CU prototype, and a cutout of Pasquale, which is 2D form, as they were limited movements and stopped being programmed later in his lifetime. Red, green, yellow, and purple would become the priority colors of the showroom remodel, as the stage would originally have curtains but got removed due to blocking the TV screens. In late of April 2010, as on each side of Chucky were 2 TV screens that played the show tapes. Fun fact, the April 2010 would be the only show to have the other 3 band members in walk-around form. This is also to note that this is the only stage to have featured a different backdrop that would change depending on the segment, such as a TV performance backdrop, recording studio backdrop, and finally a stadium's performance backdrop. Just like the Awesome Invention Machine, this stage wouldn't last long, as the means of the show was due to the controversy between Robert Gotcher and Jeremy Blair at the time. Once Robert got fired from the company, Jeremy ordered the show to be removed in 2012. According to Michael Hill, some props were placed in stores or simply got destroyed, as towards the end of the stage's life, the backdrop stopped working. Now before we discuss about the Circles of Life stage, let's move forward ahead up to the year 2011. CEC decided to pull out another test stage, which debated at the West Marlboro, Florida location around April 26, 2011, as this was the Galaxy stage. As little information is known about this stage, the backdrop would have a futuristic building as well as a rocket and the moon. The center was a large TV with green frames with 4 holes on each side and a button underneath that when pressed would switch the footage shown on it from the show tape to that of the camera above the showroom area. As on the right side of Chucky's stage was a platform which had 1 light strip at the top and 4 on the bottom, as well as windows and purple support, as behind Chucky were 4 buildings each with lights. The left of the stage featured a Ticket Blaster with a unique green rocket top and a Ticket Blaster sign, as around the stage with a carpet which featured green and purple stars, and above was a purple banner with a green text saying, "Where a kid can be a kid." Around early 2012, Wago became a vendor partner with CEC Entertainment to help with a new stage design. You see, CEC was planning for the 5th iteration of the main stage attraction, which of course was the Studio C. A major priority was to involve the technology to more of an advanced programming and controls. So around August of 2012, the Circles of Light stage debated. This was the upgrade from the Galaxy stage, as hence the name, many circles will be lit up. As this will be the first to have 3 different variations, as one would include a 32 movement Chucky, a 16 movement Chucky, or no bots at all, as some location would just remove the bots or the stage platform altogether. The Circles of Lights have a different design as well. Now, if you think this is the end of the Studio C variant stages story, well, no, you are slightly wrong. As we enter the year 2014, the Montfort, Dallas, Texas location received a promo type Circles of Light stands for, as this version was created to be separated stage for the live show outside the showroom. The promo type consisted of a small dance floor with a red boarding that could display simple color patterns and the miniature circles of light wall. The miniature circles of light wall would light up Chucky Live sign, a cemented display to use to count down into the next live show, a flat screen TV, and a small cannon that can shoot off tickets. Now, remember when I explained about the promo type Studio C Cappa with the 3 TV screens and no animatronics? As I mentioned, it played a huge legacy in the company's history down the line when involving Studio C? Well, it really did, because around May of 2015, a new stage format was introduced at the Plano, Texas location, which was the Chucky Live stage. This was sit in the showroom as the main stage, which this format was the replacement of the animatronics, which leads us to the present day, as every Chuck E. Cheese location got rid of their beloved animatronics for a video wall and a dance floor, as this is where the walk around would be featured. Now, I can go in depth with the dance floor, but expect a future topic about it on its own. Now, of course, I can't finish off this deep dive with the other studio stages without the honorable mention, the CU16 Movement Beta. Now, of course, this isn't an official name for corporate, as some might call it the Studio 3 stage, or as according to Stewart, he calls it Studio 3. Whatever you like to call it, let me know in the comments below. When the Studio C first rolled it out, various of 3 stages were being removed for the Studio C concept. As an interesting plot twist, this stage was created to replace the previous Darien, Illinois location, which was originally a showbiz pizza place. Now, when it comes to Darien, they were in good condition, the somewhat average condition to the usual horrible condition. So due to the 3 stage maintenance costs, the decision was to replace the 3 stages was part of the CUC beta for the recently removed the show from Joliet, Illinois, as installation began on July 1st, 2020, with everything on center stage being removed and thrown out to be destroyed, except for the fiber optic fireworks. In early 2020, the Quincy location would replace their 3 stage as well, for the same concept, as this time the bot came from the Lafayette, Indiana location, which closed the month prior. Now, both designs from both locations are different, as with Darien, they will use curtains from the West Des Moines, Iowa location, as Kenzie repainted the side stages purple and installed the circles of light posters from the Manderson, Illinois location, as it will have a color loop and are not programmed to the show. Now, when it comes to the Studio C, despite its different various stages designs I have mentioned, one thing a lot of fans would discuss about Studio C is the programming.
Well, think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. Think about having fun. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun.
Throughout the years, within the Studio C era, there were a lot of great talented people who have put in their whole heart and soul into programming the Studio C, which someone recommended me to do a whole video about the history of the different programming for Studio C, which I'll be honest, that's a video I won't be going in depth because I don't notice about much the programming during the Studio C. However, around the early 2010, the programming for Studio C started seeing a downfall as the anime Chuckies were using half of their movement and the lights weren't used to their full potential as they stopped the programming some movements due to wear and tear. At this point, the 32 movement Chuckies were only using half of their movements. However, in 2016, we saw a revival of the programming Studio C's, as it was new, sharp, and fresh, as there was hope from CEC, until it wasn't so new. It got boring after some time. CEC started using new movements but got overplayed over time, as they were using him to his best potential like they used to. I know the arm movements definitely caused a lot of wear and tear, but the wrist movements wasn't used much as that didn't cause much of wear and tear. Which I know Chuckster CEC has made a video about the Studio C and what led to their downfall disaster, which most of the programming compiled still holds up to this very day, which I would definitely get that video watched as well. Around May or June of 2022, 4 stores in Texas were in the middle of testing out a brand new networking module known as Navori, which contained downloading showcase content from the internet. The stores were Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Texas, Grapevine, Texas, and Irving, Texas. During the early production of the network module, it was determined that the Studio C and Studio C HD system shows would not able to be support the hardware for playing back animatronic singles, likely due to a special file basis single format, unlike the existing stage's audio-based streaming format. Due to the company's low budget at the time, the extra software to handle these shows and or the hiring of programmers to make an in-software situation to fix the issue was too costly. So starting around the Halloween Bootacular 2022 show, this will be the first to not include Studio C programming, as the Evergreen 2022 show August update will be the final to include programming for Studio C based system, as moving forward as is here currently, all programming singles for these systems will be stricted out and will only include curtains open and closed singles and random movements. Now, in all honesty, in conclusion, the real question still stands. And what was the downfall of Studio C? Well, it's pretty obvious. It was the overall dishing idea of the late night concept. When the alpha first rolled it out, it was supposed to be a whole late night talk show concept, as the stage is designed to be as interactive as possible. Despite all the great features such as the interactive console and the blue screen, which were both slightly discontinued due to cost, the alpha in general became a technician's nightmare, as kids will climb on Chucky's stage and use it as a jungle gym, which is the reason why the R movements got discontinued years later. Not to mention as well, the actual Studio C premiere show really set in the downfall of Studio C, as I'll explain more in a future video, so definitely be on the lookout for that. So, what led the whole downfall of Studio C? It was CEC themselves. They wanted to step out of the box and try something new that nobody's ever done before. As I had stated before, the Studio C has been a problem since day one. Just like the Awesome Venture Machine, which was a concept dead in the waters, the Studio C followed its footsteps to what it is today. Now, as for someone who had grew up during this era prime, it was great seeing the Studio C for what it was, as without the Studio C, my love for this company wouldn't be here today. Now, despite the bot no longer being programmed and some stores just completely removing their bots themselves from the stage, we can just reflect on the past 27 years that the Studio C played a part in all of our childhood. Thank you all for watching. This was supposed to be a debate topic for Season 3 on the old channel, but due to it being taken down, this topic was being put on hold. But I decided to make this topic to show a dedication to the Studio C stages throughout its history and downfall, which not to mention, this was a lot of research to go into and in depth. I see another video talking about someone describing about their history of Studio C, which I really didn't like how much effort that person really put in much of some of the, I'll say, research of it. But if you enjoy, make sure you like, comment down below what are your thoughts that led to the downfall of Studio C, and which is your favorite Studio C stages that you had grew up with or seeing. And make sure you subscribe so you'll know when I upload something new. Until next time, I'll see y'all later here on Chucky's Talk Show, the Great All-American Pizza Podcast. Bye for now.